Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Where the 99 Leads. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host, and Where the 99 Leads is a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville. We talk many different programs surrounding the university, academically, athletically, the Kentucky College of Optometry set to open this semester, and of course the Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine. We talk all different athletics and another new sport at the University of Pikeville, esports. We'll talk that today. We'll talk the Vision Science Academy as well. You'll find out about that and an upcoming camp. And we're excited to introduce a returning guest, Mr. Eric Van Hoos, the esports head coach at the University of Pikeville. Eric, welcome back.
Thank you. Happy to be back.
Let's talk a little about esports, talk about this past season, talk about recruiting and what's coming up next for UPike Esports.
All right. So this past season was our inaugural season for esports. We went 10-5 for our inaugural season. We made it into the playoffs of our bracket, and I was very happy with the overall season. I think we're going to build on that, and we've actually started recruitment. We've already started recruitment, and most of the team is already filled up. We also added not only Hearthstone, but we've also added some spots specifically on the team for more or less Twitch broadcasters. We're going to have them actually run our broadcast stream, and it's going to be sort of for kids who are interested in the film and media arts majors to be a part of the esports team without being a player, but they're going to be on the team itself.
Sure. Handling some of the things behind the scenes with the esports, and it's a growing sport.
Absolutely.
In colleges, began as a clubs, I guess, activity across college campuses, but there certainly are collegiate leagues. Talk about the league you participate in.
We participate in the Collegiate Star League, which when we started, we were the second school to offer scholarships for it, and there were close to, I think, 400 schools that were offering club teams, and they had different at different levels. But since we've introduced our system, the number of scholarship schools has increased to 9 now, and of those 7 that have added, 5 of them contacted us to ask us about how we went about creating our program, what we did to start it.
We'll talk more about recruiting, where the players come from, and how that has gone, because there are players across the world playing in different esports, League of Legends, and the game that's played. And it's called a game?
Yeah, it is.
Or an esports platform? I'm not sure. I'm not a gamer.
Either works. I mean,
Okay.
it's an esports platform when you're playing at that competitive of a level.
Right.
But at the same time, me or you can go sit down and play today, and it's just like a normal game. Like
It intimidates me. I can't just
understand.
go sit down today. It intimidates me, Eric.
I completely understand. I can teach you.
Very well. Eric Van, who's the esports head coach, our guest today, and also Shaylin Eversole, UPike Biology Club here. How does the Biology Club relate to esports?
Well, we're teaming up for this camp, the Vision Science Academy camp,
Very good.
and basically we helped kind of create the posters, and we're supplying 3 out of 4 of the guest student lecturers
Very good.
from our biology club.
We're going to talk a lot about that today. We're going to talk about the Vision Science Academy and esports, but first, Shaylin, let's talk about you. Let's talk about where you come from, your background, and your arriving here at UPike.
I graduated from Perry County Central in Perry County, Kentucky in 2013, so I've been here since then, and I'm a biology major. I'll be a senior in the fall, and I also have a minor in chemistry and religion.
Wow. And a busy young lady.
Yes, very.
Talk about your plans for the future. Biology major, you've got chemistry, you've got religion. Where do you go with that?
I'm going to go to medical school.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good. Bright future ahead for Shaylin Eversole. Eric Van Hoos, esports head coach, our guest. Eric, we talk about esports. We have a general idea of what that's all about. And Vision Science Academy. What are esports and Vision Science Academy?
So basically, it started out as a cooperative measure between us and the College of Optometry to kind of start a camp to foster high school students who are interested in technology and science. We wanted to try to get those kids, to kind of show them that they don't have to leave the area for camps and things like that. That
Sure.
kind of foster that. So it started out as that last year, and this year we've added we've came to the biology club, and they're going to be helping us with add even more science aspects to it.
And cost to attend the Vision Science Academy?
Completely free.
Wow. You don't hear that often. When you hear about summer camps, and there are summer camps for everything, here, there, every week, maybe a 3-day camp, a 2-day camp, and there's always a cost associated. So it's absolutely free.
Absolutely.
And how about space? Is space limited?
Space it'll basically be limited by the classroom size. There's a couple other classrooms that we might be able to move it into if we need to increase it. But right now we're kind of aiming for the 10 to 15, maybe 20 range. But getting beyond that, we might start to cap it if the need arises.
A lot of individual attention with this. And Shaylin, as you're participating with the biology club, I find it very interesting. Tell us when the camp is and what ages are you looking for? This is not necessarily a camp for maybe first and second graders, a little older kids, I would imagine.
Yeah, the dates are set right now for June 27th and 28th, and it's from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. both days. And right now the camp is open to middle schoolers and high school students.
Very good. And it's that prime age of video gaming and now esports as it carries on into young adulthood as well. Get them early. Eric, this is the second year for this camp. You've done this before. Tell us about last year's program, what went on, and just a recap of last year's camp.
Okay, so last year's camp we started off with a bit more of a technology focus at the time. We first of all we taught we had a couple seminars on Photoshop and some of the Adobe Creative Cloud suites, those things that are really skill based, and then we went in depth on how to build a gaming computer, like what parts go into it, how to save yourself a lot of money on building one, but also be able to build one that's much more powerful. After we built the computer, we also taught all of the kids how to actually run a Twitch stream from the beginning to end. We taught them how to run the cameras, how to run the switcher, and actually how to be the broadcasters. And so on the last year we did 3 days instead of 2, but they were a little shorter days. So on the third day, we actually brought all the kids in and we actually had them do a Twitch stream of, like, some of the kids were the players, some of the kids were the cameramen or women, some of the kids ran the switcher, and then some of them were actually the commentators.
Sure.
And so they ran everything from start to finish, and we taught them all of it in the first 2 days and then had them do it the third day.
For those that are tuned in right now that said everything you just said went flying past my head, I have no idea what you're talking about. Explain what a Twitch stream is.
It's more or less, if you think about it in traditional sports terms, it's more or less the way ESPN broadcasts, a baseball game. But the only difference is instead of a camera being on the field, we have the games are actually streamed straight into the broadcaster.
Sure.
So you see what's happening in the game, and then the cameras were actually on the commentators at the desk, more or less.
It's very interesting. And last year you build a gaming computer. You teach the participants to do a Twitch stream. At the end of last year's camp, what were the students most surprised that they had learned?
I think as we were going through the camp, we also tried to not only teach them how to run a Twitch stream and how to use some of these programs, but also kind of emphasized the fact that you're not only learning these things, but you're learning transferable skills. You're learning how to how to problem solve and how to critically think when you're like, what happens when something, if something goes wrong during the stream, how do you quickly fix that? Like, that's a skill, like knowing how, being quick on your feet like that, that's something that, employers will look for, but it's not easy to say that to quantify that skill.
Sure.
And it's a good way to learn it. Like, that's the best way to learn that is with an actual experience.
Absolutely. We're talking about esports and the Vision Science Academy coming to the University of Pikeville in late June. And Shaylin Eversole, UPike's biology major, and looking forward to a career as a doctor, heading to med school after this upcoming senior year. You're involved with the biology club. Tell us how they're involved in this year's camp.
So this year, we teamed up and decided to help make the posters that were sent out electronically to all the schools to do recruitment for the kids. And then also we're supplying 3 out of 4 of our student lecturers on campus for the camp from the biology club.
Very good. These are obviously biology majors, biology minors, those that are involved in the biology curriculum at the university. You talk about guest lecturers. What are the types of lectures that students might hear?
I myself am doing the visual pathway, so just the different parts of the eye, and like once the light enters the eye, like where it goes to, what happens with that. My friend Molly, she's a biology major and chemistry major. She'll be talking about the structure of the eye. And then we have Jo Beth Bingham. She's a biology major also, and she's going to be talking about genetics with the eye and just her research that she did at the University of Kentucky. And then we have Austin Thacker, who's not in the biology club, but he's a chemistry major, and he's going to be talking about the physics behind the eye.
Very good. So all things involving the eye from the biology club. I would imagine, not a biology guy, I'm not an anatomy person, but I would imagine the eye is very complicated.
It is, very.
And going to spend a little time with that. We take for granted, I think, sometimes our eyesight.
We do.
The things we see, and we have no idea how that takes place. But esports, Eric, as an esports coach, the eye is very important to your game.
Absolutely. We've been partnered with the College of Optometry since the esports program started, really. We have been working with them on, we're actually part of their research for their self-study. We're going to be developing a program to help train not only our esports athletes, but in theory, we're hoping to create a program that will make it easier for anybody to train their eyes to, better follow things on the screen, to better be more or less the same way that, sports vision has been a thing for many years.
Yes,
like
indeed.
We're trying to effectively do that, but in an esports capacity.
Sure.
But as far as for this camp, or this year's camp rather, the esports department has partnered up with some of the PR department, and we're creating an eye. We actually, Jacob Stratton up in PR has been working really hard on this, and he's actually with using a video game engine, we've created the inside of an eye, and it'll actually be labeled and everything, and we're using Google Cardboard for the virtual reality experience of it, more or less. So in theory, we're going to show these kids the inside of an eye and have them virtually stand inside of it and look around and be able to see, different ailments inside the eye. We'll be able to add those in. We're going to be able to, show them, how the veins work, and I think there's something to gain from being able to literally see it. There's a difference once you've seen it, feel like you've seen it with your own eyes.
Absolutely.
Even though it's at the inside of an eye. It gets really kind of eyeception there.
It does. It does indeed. Eric Van Hoos, esports head coach. Shaylin Eversole, UPike Biology Club, our guest on this edition as we talk about the Esports and Vision Science Academy coming to UPike in late June. And Shaylin, something that really sparked my interest, one of your guest lectures is about eye color, the genetics of eye color. And many people are fascinated by how that works, why that works. Why does someone have blue eyes? Why does someone have brown eyes? Why does everyone in this family have? Whatever the case may be. Tell us about that. Tell us about the genetics of eye color.
So it's a little bit complicated, but the first thing that anybody has to understand is that there's 2 types of genes. You have a dominant gene and a recessive gene. A dominant gene means it only takes 1 copy of that 1 gene to express something. Like brown eye color is considered dominant. That's why most people have brown eyes.
Sure.
And then a recessive, it takes 2 copies of that gene to be able to express something. So that's why most people have there's a very small amount of people that have blue eyes.
Right.
So basically, for eye color, there are many, many, many different genes involved. So it's really complicated, much more complicated than we're going to explain it at the camp. For the purposes of this camp, we're going to use 2 genes. So we're going to think that, for an example, if you have a father that has brown eyes, he would have 2 dominant genes. And if you have a mother that has blue eyes, she has 2 recessive genes. So when you understand Mendelian genetics, which we will teach that in Punnett squares and stuff like that, you'll see that the offspring, their chances of having all brown eyes is basically 100%.
See. Yeah, 3 kids, 3 brown eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was dominant here.
Yeah.
So that's part of the genetics in a very simple way, but you're going to break that down. You'll have a lecture on
Yes.
that. This is just some of the things that the students will learn at the Vision Science Academy. I don't fall into the age category, but I'm very interested, and I really want to sit in with this camp. Eric, esports incorporated into the camp. Obviously, last year in year 1 of the camp, you built a gaming computer. You did the Twitch stream involving the technical side. Now, with the eye being brought into this, esports, the Twitch stream, and so forth, how do you incorporate esports with these?
So this year we're trying to focus a little bit more towards the College of Optometry, both because we have the biology club helping us with all of those guest lecturers as well, but also because this is going to be the inaugural year for the College of Optometry.
Sure.
So we kind of wanted to focus a little bit more towards that this year. But as far as the esports department's involvement, we've been working with them to create the virtual reality eye, but we're also going to be working with them we're still going to do a seminar on Photoshop as well as one on programming. And as far as the programming one, we're going to focus it not on the actual coding aspect of programming, but more more or less the part that comes after the iconic way people think about coding of like a black screen with just random text.
Sure.
We're going to do the part after that, which is in this case, it's going to be a video game engine called Unity, and we're going to more or less explain how we used that to create the virtual reality eye.
Sure. Gamers aren't just gamers. They have a high interest in the technical side of it as well, don't they?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
As an outsider looking in, and one of my children is, a couple of are gamers. One a little more technical than the other, but they have a certain interest in how things work instead of just going and the old guys in the room who went to a video game, popped a quarter in, and just played it. We didn't care how it worked. It was just cool. But there's a great interest in that. They'll find some of that at this camp. It's
Absolutely.
very intriguing. Eric, also, you mentioned the Kentucky College of Optometry. They begin classes this next semester, and you have faculty from KICO that will be participating. What will they share with students?
Dr. Eileen Kinzer is going to be sharing. She's going to be taking part in some of the guest lectures with the biology club, but she's also going to do I believe an hour or two during both days, where she's going to talk about a little bit more of while they're talking about the way that light reacts in the eye and the way that genetics reacts with the eye. She's going to be talking about more of the structures of the eye, the actual what makes it up, how it works and those kinds of things. And she's going to use the virtual reality eye as kind of a prop for that.
Sure, very good. Shaylin, how will the activities that the students participate in this camp, how will that help them when they go back to classes this fall, back to their middle and high schools?
Well, our main goal with the camp is to teach them about the advances in technology and science so that they can go back and apply it. So we're hoping that they go back with a renewed encouragement to really learn about this kind of thing, and to maybe even have jobs in mind that they know that they can have around here because of the opportunities that this camp's going to give them.
Sure.
And like he said, they talked about programming. That's something that you can apply to anything, anytime.
Right.
And so hopefully they're going to learn skills that they can actually put to use when they go back.
And it could be someone who has those skills, those interests, that maybe has maybe a growing interest in biology, or vice versa, and those can intertwine. We're finding that out with the Vision Science Academy. Eric, what do you hope to accomplish with this?
I really hope that we can really, like she said, really foster them going into these fields. Kind of hopefully, maybe some of these kids who kind of had a passing interest in these things will come away from this with a renewed interest in it. They'll really, not see it as something that they could move away and do, but something that they could do here. Also, something that I didn't know until here recently, but apparently the acronyms STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and math, is officially out, and they've now moved into STEAM, which is the same acronym, just adding arts. So that's part of why we want to keep the Photoshop aspect and things like that with it. Is you know, the STEM versions of all of these things are great, but without the creativity of adding in the art and things like that, you lose a lot. So if you add in that creativity, hopefully we're going to foster some kids who are really interested in developing programs like this, maybe developing a new app for how to see an eye and those kinds of things.
And I've learned something today. I didn't realize STEM was out. It's now STEAM.
I just found out here recently.
Very good. Eric Van Hoos, eSports head coach, and Shaylin Eversole, U-Pike student, major in biology, member of the biology club, our guest on this edition. And Shaylin, what advice would you give the students who may be interested? They have a great interest in biology, and they're interested in studying biology in college. What advice would you give those middle and high school students?
Biology is a very hard but very rewarding major. You're going to get opportunities that you've not seen in other places. You're going to get, you know, to actually touch organs. You know, you're going to get to actually interact with the medical schools, and you're going to get to go and see things. But at the same time, it's not a major that you can procrastinate in. You have to actually keep up with your work, and you need to do good, because if you're going to be a biology major, you really have to go to professional school after. You don't really have a lot of choices unless you want to teach, which is fine. But a lot of people go into biology to go to professional school. So at the same time, you really have to work hard in it, but it's very rewarding.
In high school, when they're choosing their courses and they'd like to major in biology in college, I would imagine every science class they can get.
Yeah, my interest in biology was sparked with an AP biology class in high school. That's what I decided my major with. So I mean, that's what you need to do in high school. You kind of really do learn what you want to do, and you just kind of have to follow it and see what you can do.
Right. So it struck you that early.
Yeah, it did.
You locked into biology, and you're still there today.
I am. Yeah.
That's something, because there are a lot of college students that arrive as freshmen with a major in mind, and in their senior year with a completely different major.
Yeah, I can say biology, your first classes you'll learn if you actually want to stick with it or not, because they're hard and they require work, but you'll figure out soon if that's what you want to do.
Very good. At U-Pike, experiential learning is a huge part of the campus environment. Hands-on application, experiential learning, which we've learned about, is incorporated into nearly every course on campus, whether it be film and media arts with equipment, operating equipment, whether it be with biology and the biology club being involved in a camp, and virtual reality eyes. Very, very cool and hands-on. As a student, how has that style helped you learn biology?
Well, experiential learning actually was started being really big at Pikeville whenever my freshman year, so I got really lucky with it. But I'm a visual learner, and so hands-on, obviously, that's going to help anybody that's a visual learner, because you actually get to interact. You're going to get to see it, and you'll remember it in your mind whenever you try to recall it later. But I mean, it's going to, not only is it going to help you with your memory and stuff and learning, but it's going to actually give you some chances to do things that you've probably not done before. Because I mean, a lot of even biology, religion, any kind of classes that does experiential learning, they're going to take you on trips to go and see the places that you need to see, and you might not ever get to go to those places if you don't go to Pikeville. And so it's a really, really great thing.
Shaylin Eversole, a U-Pike, a rising senior. You'll walk the graduation next spring, about a year from now.
Yeah.
Coming out of Perry County High School, she is a Commodore coming to the University of Pikeville. Besides the Vision Science Camp, let's talk about some extra time that you've spent in the lab conducting research. Out of Perry County High School, you come to U-Pike, you're a biology club member, biology major, minoring in chemistry and religion, and you're doing research. Tell us about that. That's exciting.
So last summer I applied for, well, actually it was last December, I applied for the Colonel B. Ledford Scholarship, which is given to Appalachian communities. And so I fit that because I was from Perry County. And so they award around $5,100 plus another $1,000 for your supplies, and you can do research. So I've been doing research last summer, and I'm doing research again this summer through the Ledford Scholarship. I've been blessed to get it again.
Wow.
And I do pancreatic cancer cell research at Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine with Dr. Mylon Park. And so what I do is, it's a little complicated, but there's a thing called anacardic acid, and it's a compound, and it's found in mangoes and cashews. And so what we do is we look at how it affects pancreatic tumor cell growth in combination with chemotherapeutics, which are, in the case that we use, they're called 5-fluorouracil and gemcitabine, which are the main chemotherapeutics used in cancer treatment.
Sure.
And so what we do is we use either MTT assays, Western blots, confocal microscopic analysis, and look and see the mechanism behind that. And what we found was that anacardic acid with those chemotherapeutics actually does stop tumor cell growth some, and it inhibits it and makes it at least progress slower.
Wow.
So that supplement, if you eat mangoes and cashews, could potentially cause a pancreatic cancer patient to have a longer survival rate.
Wow.
Which is amazing, because I even got into this research because my grandma passed away
Sure.
from pancreatic cancer.
And
So that's amazing.
I think many of our families
Yeah.
have been touched by cancer, but pancreatic cancer, it seems to be something you hear more of these days.
It's also the worst cancer.
Yeah.
It's very, very low survival rate.
Once the research is completed, you've got the study done. Where does that information go then?
So right now we're working on publishing a paper, and besides that, with the Ledford Scholarship, you have to give an annual presentation on your research. So we go to Kingsport in Tennessee every year and go to it's called a summit, and we have a conference and we get up on stage and we talk about 5 or 6 minutes in front of everybody about what we do, and we have judges come around and talk to us. But that's pretty much it. It's going to get published, and if it gets big enough, hopefully, it'll actually go somewhere.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we'll get rid of pancreatic cancer. We'll be able
That'd
to
be
stop
nice.
those cell growth. It is Where the 99 Leads. In today's program, we talk about esports at the University of Pikeville and the Vision Science Academy, how the Biology Club and esports work together for this academy. For middle school, high school students, the camp coming up late June at UPike, and I'm excited. I've got a great interest in this, and Eric Van Hoos, you'll be there. If someone's interested in this camp, they'd like to participate this year, whether they did last year or not, there are opportunities. How can they get more information, or how could they register?
Right now, the easiest way to register is to go to theholler.org. The Holler is currently hosting our registration services, so you can go on there, and the main page has a slider at the very top on it. You just click there and register straight from there.
And the Holler, just like it sounds, TheHoller, the Holler.
.org.
Eric Van Hoos, esports head coach at the University of Pikeville. And while we do have a couple of minutes remaining, wanted to talk about recruiting for esports, because there are gamers, there are people that participate in the games across the country, across the world. How has recruiting been? Have you had those contact you once they found that Pikeville offered scholarships?
Yes, we've actually had quite a few of them directly contact us. We've partnered up with the High School Star League, which is effectively, like it sounds, the high school version of the Collegiate Star League.
Sure.
And we partnered up with them and kind of sent out some contact information and a newsletter to over, I think it was 14,000 high school students.
Sure.
And we sent that out, and we've had a lot of response from that, a lot of kids that have been very interested in playing with us. And so we not only have those kids that saw us from the High School Star League, but also a lot of local kids.
Sure.
There's a lot of local interest in this.
Very good. It's a growing sport, as we've seen. When the worldwide leader in sports, ESPN, grabs it, it's something to pay attention to, and they have as well. Eric, thanks for being with us, UPike esports head coach, and we look forward to the Vision Science Academy. Shaylin Eversole, it's great to see you. We want to wish you well in your senior year and at camp and on your research, and wish you a lot of success in your future. I think you've got a bright one.
Thank you.
Shaylin Eversole, UPike student, our guest, along with Eric Van Hoos. You've been tuned to Where the 99 Leads, a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville, the leading university of Central Appalachia.